So let's break it down real quick before we jump into the design part of this, the coding part of it. At the top, we have like a spotlight title and then maybe a basic description of the company right there. And then we have 3 columns. We have the 3 columns that outline maybe like some very specific things about the company organization. So in this case, this is about the Southern Oregon Humane Society. So the 3 main features about them is you can adopt animals, you can volunteer your time with the animals, or you can donate money to help rescues and strays for the organization. For a business, you might think about the product or services that they offer, things like that to go into these sections, maybe like community service outreach or anything else that really describes what the company does. It's not really super critical that you take very specific things for each of these 3 columns for your company organization, as long as they fit for your portfolio. So if, for instance, you want to do something that features their services, that's maybe where I would put in terms of the adopt section. Maybe in the volunteer section, you might think about their community service outreach, although maybe your company or organization is so small they don't have something like that. So you might come up with an alternative for that section. And then here, donate, again, just that could be an about section about the company, or maybe another product feature that you think is important that you feature for your company or organization. So however you build this out with the content is totally up to you and should make sense for your portfolio and for your company. So if you feel the need to change some of these things around, please do so. Down here underneath, you have another section where we highlight some of the other features of this company or organization. If you can't find this information, just don't include it, okay? Obviously, the more the better, because this section looks pretty nice with all that information in there. But if you can't find that information and you're struggling with that, make sure that it looks good and works for both of you, both your organization and your portfolio. So make that judgment call as you start to build this out. Okay, so let's jump into it. So down here, I need to locate where it says main class main top and locate that closing main tag and place my cursor right at the end of it and hit the enter return key. And hit the backspace again so I'm on that same level on the line there. And we're going to go main, class, main. And with mine, I'm going to add that light gray background to that main class so that I have that section divided up pretty clearly. And then hit the enter return key, right caret, and then enter return key a couple times. I'm going to delete that back so it's on the same level, move my cursor up, and then tab in. So from here, I'm going to add that div class row like we've been so accustomed to. Right caret and close that out. Enter return key a couple times and make sure you're tabbing in to show that nesting, like the Russian nesting dolls. And so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to throw in an H2, a heading 2. And this might be what I'm going to call the company or / organization spotlight. So you would want to probably put their name right there. So if it's Southern Oregon Humane Society, I probably should have put Southern Oregon Humane Society spotlight. And then the paragraph underneath is really just kind of a real brief paragraph about what this what this company is or what it does. And so I'm just going to grab some lorem ipsum text like you're so used to, and then copy that and then paste that into my paragraph tag. I think I have a little bit of extra code in my copy paste, so let's copy and paste that in there and then take out, that's where it is. So we got a little extra caret. So after that row, locate that closing div tag after that first row and place your cursor after the closing div tag and then hit the enter return key. And we're going to add another row. So div class row, we're on the second row now. And right caret, and then enter return a couple more times to close that out, and then tab in. So we're going to we're going to do that 3-column grid layout. So we're going to go left caret grid. Oops, sorry, div class grid 3, right caret, and then close that out. Enter return a couple times, and then move your cursor up, and then tab in. Make sure you're tabbing in to delineate the fact that this is a nested 3-column grid. We need cells for each one of those, so we're going to go div class call span 1. So that'll be our call column or cell for each one of our sections there. So I'm going to just go ahead and grab that first one, Control C or Command C, copy paste those 2 more times. So I have those set up. So just going to go back and double check to make sure I have this structure set up. I've got my row main. I've got my row here. So this is my first row up here. So whenever you click on a closing div tag, you can see where the beginning and end of your row starts. So there we go. So there's my second row, and inside there's my 3-column, and then each one of these is a cell within that column. Okay, so I'm going to target the first column, the first cell. I'm going to tab in, and we need to put in an H2 tag. And then I'm going to say this is, in fact, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put the tag in, and I'm not going to put any content in, so then I can just copy and paste from there, and then that way I'll have my structure set up, and I won't have to do some extra typing if I don't have to. So after that H2, I'm going to hit the enter return key, left caret, and then div class image container. Then right caret on that, and then left caret image src. I'm going to go ahead and leave that blank for now, and then space alt tag, leave that blank, move my cursor over, and then / right caret. That'll take care of my image section for right there, and then underneath that I have a paragraph that goes in after that. So left caret P. And then for me, this gets some lorem ipsum text. So to save some time on this tutorial, you wouldn't want to do this for your actual design. I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste this in now, because this lorem ipsum text gets repeated in each of these examples. So I'm going to just hit Command C or Control C and put that into that paragraph tag. So from here, I'm going to grab my H2, that div class, and that paragraph that I just put inside of my call span 1 div class, my div there, and I'm going to hit Control C or Command C, and then I'm going to place that inside of, tab in first, place that inside of the other 2 columns that I created, or the other 2 cells, so that way all of that stuff remains the same. And then I can go through, and each one of these heading tags I can put in what those should be. So in that first one, it's adopt. For the second one, it's donate. In that second one, we're going to get a little bit different with this image src. So I'll come back to that in a minute. And then, oh, I'm sorry, not donate. This one gives volunteer. Volunteer, and then the last one is donate. Okay. And then I'm going to go back to this first one up here and then find where the image quotation marks are. First of all, I'm going to go ahead and place my cursor right after that quotation mark and hit the delete key a couple times, and then retype in the quotation mark so my browse for file code hint pops open. Hit the enter return key, and then select and look for that image. In this case, this one is So Humane Adopt right there. And I'm going to go ahead and put in the Alt key there, adopt, So Humane. And then I'm going to skip over the second one here for just a second, because I want to go to this third one. So this third one will be a lot easier. So where the image src is, I'm going to hit the delete key. Where that quotation mark is again, type in the quotation mark so my code hint pops up again, and then hit the enter return key. And I am looking for So Humane Donate, and the little puppy there. And then next I'm going to type in that Alt key. I'm going to type in, again, I believe it's donate. So humane. Okay, so now I want to come back to this middle one. And if you look at our example here, our example is a YouTube embedded video. And I already have this pulled up in a YouTube player. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click over to this YouTube video and show you where you're going to find this. So in any YouTube video that allows it, you can embed a video into a website. So when you see this little share button over here, you get a lot of different options. Usually you just get a URL right here. But we want to embed this so that the player shows up in our website. And to do that, I'm going to click on the little embed link here, and it's going to give you some code to copy and paste. All YouTube videos use what's called an iframe tag to contain the videos. And so what I'm going to do is just want to copy that code. And what I'm going to show you, before I copy and paste this over, I want you to notice that there is a width and a height value in this player. We can adjust this width and height value when we bring it into our website, but it will bring it in at this height and this width. And we want to get rid of that because we don't want it to be larger than the container that we're putting it in. So I'm going to grab that whole iframe code, Control C or Command C, and then I'm going to toggle back over to Dreamweaver. And in place of where I have image src in the alt, I'm going to highlight that whole tag. So I'm looking at the image src and then the alt and then the / and then the right caret. That's going away. So I'm going to delete that out so you can see what you should see, which is div class image container. We're going to go ahead and use this image container to wrap the iframe. It's okay. It'll work even though we've set it up for something else. It'll suit its purposes, even though it's a video and I know this is image, but it works in the same way. So I'm going to paste that iframe in there. And the first thing I want to do is to take out the width and the height of that iframe. And because I want to be able to change that depending upon the screen size that we're in, whether it's a Galaxy S5 or, whatever that might be. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that out and save that. And then we need to create a class for this iframe so it works properly with the height and the width. So I'm going to toggle over to our style sheet. And where I'm going to put it is, I'm going to put it right underneath where I've already created that image container above, and I'm going to create a class for YouTube embed. So I'm going to call it .YouTube embed. Now, this might get a little tricky here. If you're going to use another YouTube embed on your showcase page, I'm thinking forward already, you might want to create two classes for how you embed these videos. So I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go YouTube embed small to create this, and then I'm going to open this up in a curly brace, and we want to do width, and we're going to want to go ahead and preview this first in our mobile view. So I'm going to go width 100%. So it'll be 100% of the container, and it's the height that we're going to need to adjust. So I want to check to see how this, we're going to use an actual pixel value for the height. So I want to see how this looks in a, and in fact I might want to just do 300. We're going to experiment with this for just a minute. I'm going to save this, and we're going to preview how this is going to look in a mobile screen first. So I'm going to come over to my preview window. In fact, I've already got this open in Google Chrome, so I'm just going to toggle over to Google Chrome and come over to my portfolio and scroll down. So you can see right here this is the problem that I have. My video player is smaller than the paragraph section that I have it in, and I want it to be a little bit larger, but that's in the laptop view. So let's go ahead and switch it over to the Galaxy S5 and then see what it looks like there. That's what I want to kind of look at. So I know the Galaxy S5 is about 350 pixels wide. So what I'm going to have to do is actually readjust that a little bit. And I want it to be a little bit taller as well in that player. So, oh, actually, I forgot to apply that class to that video. Darn it. So I'm going to come back over here, locate our iframe tag, and at the very beginning, right where I have iframe src, I'm going to go ahead and put the class right at the beginning. So right after iframe, I'm going to type in class, and then we're going to call this YouTube embed small. Select that, go ahead and hit save, and then let's tab over to our Google Chrome, hit refresh, and then see what happens here. There we go. So it did go full width on that. That's good. That's what I want to see there. And the height wise looks pretty good. We could probably make that a little bit smaller. So let's tab over to Dreamweaver and go to our style sheet. Here's what happens if we take out the height. Let's go ahead and do height as auto, and let's see how this works. I don't have any faith that this is going to look good, but let's test it out anyway. Toggle back over to Google Chrome and see what it did is it made it too narrow. So with height values, you can't let the browser decide for you like you can with the width. You actually have to give it a physical dimension. It just doesn't handle auto values or 100% values like it does with the width. And that's because with height, there isn't a limit. There isn't a limit to the container like there is in the widths, because the content stretches to match the height. So what we're going to do is we're going to just go ahead and experiment with some values. I'm going to go down to 250 pixels where I was 300 just a little bit ago, and then toggle back over and then see how that looks. So I think 250 is pretty close to where I want to be, and it still shows pretty nicely there. So let's go ahead and switch back over to our laptop view and see how it looks here. So when I get to 250, we just have a little bit of a small spot here, so it kind of bumps up in not the same height as our image here. And really, this is going to be super hard to determine what height we want to do for a laptop or even a desktop view. If I switch it from so this is a medium DPI screen, so that's a pretty common laptop. If I go to a higher end laptop with a high definition, it's going to push it up even more up in there. So we can add a media query. We can add a media query to this class. So I'm going to locate my media query right below it there, and I'm going to place it right underneath image CNT container. Hit the enter return key and type in YouTube embed small. Open up a curly brace, hit the enter return key, and then we are going to do a width. Oh no, sorry, not width, height. And let's go ahead and see what it looks like with 300 pixels. And then save it. And then tab over to Google Chrome. Refresh our browser there, scroll down. It's about as close as we're going to get on a high resolution screen. It's just a guessing game. If I go bigger, if I get out of a laptop screen, it's going to go smaller for me. So there's not much you can do about that. You're just going to have to roll with it and how it looks. And you can kind of get it close, but no matter what, it's always going to be kind of cut off. Like at some point or other, it's going to be limited by that screen size. So let's go back over to our developer tools and preview that again in our laptop view. Okay, so we have a few more things that we need to code out. So let's tab over to Dreamweaver here, and switch back over to our DOM, or our source code, or HTML. And what we're looking for is we're looking for the end of the grid row, grid 3, but not after. Actually, we are looking for after that div class row. So we want to find that last div class row, that second row that we created, and right before that closing main tag. So place your cursor at the end of that closing div, and then right before the closing main. Hit the enter return key, left caret, div, class, row, and then right caret. And then enter return a couple times, move your cursor up, and then tab in. So from here, we're going to add just some basic stuff about the company. So you can decide what heading you want to use. I'm going to go ahead and use an H4 for these, and this one's going to be mission statement. And then after you type in mission statement, hit the enter return key, and then paragraph tag. I'm just going to do these as paragraphs, not as bullet points or anything like that. And I'm just going to go ahead and grab some ipsum lorem filler text for now for those things. So I'm going to copy and paste that inside my paragraph tag, and then hit the enter return key, and then I'm going to type in another H4. And this H4 is going to be like company history or organization history. And then place your cursor at the end of that, enter return key, left caret, paragraph, and then I'm going to paste in that same ipsum lorem text that I just did previously. And then enter return key, another H4, and type in between there, community relations or partnerships. And same thing, enter return key after that, paragraph tag, and then paste that information in there as well. I'm going to go ahead and save this, and I'm going to toggle over to our preview screen, and there we go. Okay, so the next section, toggle over to our mockup. The next section is going to be our job interview, a little bit of a job description at the top, but our job interview with our supervisor at our internship site.